Now, this thing called purpose, I think it takes on a million different definitions depending on who you're talking to or who you're listening to. You went on an extensive journey for this book, but this has kind of been the precipice of your life's work, period. So, for those who are wondering, what, according to Dr. Dharius Daniels, is purpose?
Yeah, you're right, bro. There are a zillion definitions of it. So, and I think there's space for that. You know what I mean? I think there's flexibility for that. I think there's room for that. But for me, here's a working definition that I use. It is the reason or the reasons for the existence of a thing. Literally, that's it. Purpose is the reason or the reasons for the existence of a thing. So it's possible for something to exist, right? And not be consistent with the reason it exists. So it's like, yo, I'm using a mic for this podcast. So this mic exists, but I can use this mic for a door stopper too. Like I could put it in, I can I can put it at the bottom of the door. They can stop the door from closing. So it's being used, but it's not being used for the reason it was created. And so for me, that's kind of the way that I look at it. I don't think anyone is existing by accident. I think we all got unique design and unique desires and unique dreams. And when we discover the reason and the reasons for our existence, that is our purpose. At least that's the definition I'm rocking with right now.
No, that's a great definition. And I want to follow that up with a quote from your book that I had to write down, and it may end up in a future sermon. I'm just
Use it.
saying.
It's yours, brother. Use it.
This is so strong. You said if you become someone other than who you've been created to become, then you won't be able to do what you were created to do.
Yeah.
That's how important this is. Like you could literally go through this life and waste it if you don't go on this journey. Is that what you're trying to get us to see?
1000%. And watch this. You use the word waste. I think that's such an appropriate word because wasting it isn't just doing nothing with it. Wasting it can be doing the wrong thing with it. And when I say the wrong thing, I don't mean like an unethical thing. I just mean the thing that you weren't necessarily created to do. You know, bro, I feel like really at the heart of that quote, that quote like really speaks to the heart of the book, which is really not just about purpose in and of itself. It's about understanding, embracing, and unleashing your uniqueness. Like I'm really encouraging people to push back against the pressure to conform, push back against the tendency to compare ourselves, and to really understand and embrace and unleash your uniqueness. We're not just trying to make a difference. We want to make our difference. And man, that's what it's all about for me.
I think that for a lot of people, even if they are open, their heart is open to the process. They're in pursuit of living in their purpose. They want to. I think a trap is falling for the prescribed definitions from other people of what our purpose is. For in the African American context, unfortunately, a lot of times that happens from the church. Or I see this on you. You're going to be this, or you should be that. And then if you're a good student or if you're a good athlete, people want to assign that as who you are. That's what your purpose is. So, how do we, as we walk through, because a lot of times these voices are trusted voices in our life. These are people that we aspire to be like, that we look up to, and their words hold weight for us. And how do we balance hearing from God, who is the assigner of our purpose, and hearing from these trusted voices, or these voices that have oversight in our life, teachers, coaches, pastors, bosses? How do we balance all of these voices and find through all this noise what our actual purpose is?
Oh, you talking spicy. You just went there, okay? It's like, yo, you just called that out, bro. That's that you just touched that sacred cow right there because you are right. You are right. That it is almost as if we hold on to those assumed identities when we get them in a religious context in a way that is different from even the identities that are assigned to us in our own home. Because many of us didn't grow up seeing our home as sacred, but we see the church as sacred. So there's this conflation. between what a servant of God says and God. And it's not not always true. So, yo, let's talk about it. We out here now. So
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. You're here. I say I'm not gonna waste it. I want to know.
so one of the things I think is kind of a perspective shift, right? And that is, I'm gonna tell you this conversation, right? So I'm in seminary, and there's this guy that's there, and this guy. So I'm in seminary. I'm gonna go into ministry when I'm done. This guy is going into professorship, so he's going to the PhD program. I'm gonna graduate. I'm gonna go to ministry. So we're sitting at lunch, bro. I'll never forget this. And he looked at me. He said, "You know what the problem is with y'all preachers?" I said, "Y'all preachers?" He's like, "What? What are you talking, bro? We both in seminary. What are you talking about?" He said, "Nah." He said, "This is the problem." He says, "Y'all confuse anointed with omniscient." I say, "Bro, wait a minute." Yeah, he said, "Y'all confuse anointed with omniscient." He's like, "Man, just because you're anointed to do a thing doesn't mean you know everything. And because you don't know everything, you need to manage even some of your convictions with a degree of humility. Because even though you're trying to do right, you can get it wrong." And I think that's the first thing I would say to someone who's trying to untangle themselves from this like assumed identity that they got from church or from culture or whatever. Sometimes people who love you right can steer you wrong. It's just it is what it is. It's it's life. But this is what I want to tell people though, man. Listen, your purpose is your responsibility. That is your like other people have opinions about it. Other people have preferences regarding what you're supposed to do with your life, but you stewarding your life faithfully to or faithfully in accordance to what you feel like you've been called and created to do, man, that's your responsibility. And so I really think that it's important for people to receive, people's input that loves them and let that input contribute, but not control the conclusions they come to about their purpose, man.
Now I know that you said that you experience this in various forms over your life, and even in your ministerial career, where there were some trusted voices, where you had some like out the box ideas about how you were going to go about impacting the world, and they was like, maybe you should just stick to this. You're having success at this, and this is how it's always been done. So I think part of the journey to walking in your purpose is courage. You need courage to know that what the Lord has placed on your heart to do, and even the methods or strategies that He's given you, will work. So when you were trying, when people were trying to place you in a box that was different than the purpose that you knew God had on your life, what type of internal work are you doing to not let them take you off course or not shove you in that box?
Man, that's a great question. You ask good questions. I'll leave that alone. I'll leave that alone. I do a lot of interviews. You ask really good questions. Um, uh, here's the thing I'm gonna say. I had to do a lot of internal work, and I think some of those experiences that you just described that I went through are actually things that expose some work that needed to be done. Because when it comes to people that mentor you or coach you or people that you look up to, there may be a part of you that wants to please them. And I don't know how much you're exposed to that until you put in a situation where you got to make a decision that you don't think pleases them. Then you realize, I think I'm kind of people pleasing a little bit in this relationship, or you should value other people's opinion and perspective. But there is such a thing as putting too much value on that opinion or perspective. And so I had to do a lot of internal work, man, um, as it relates to, all right, man, is there some people pleasing going on here? Is there some unconscious idolatry happening here? Like, why is their opinion weighing so much? And it's not that it shouldn't weigh heavily, right? I'm not saying that some opinions shouldn't carry more weight than others. I'm just talking about the process I had to go through, kind of internally. Like, is there some people pleasing going on here? Why is there some unconscious idolatry happening? is, you know, do I feel good about me when I feel like they feel good about me? Um, I had to I had to look at that. I had to look at some esteem issues. Like I feel like you really don't know where your esteem is until you got to stand in isolation. So it's like when you, yeah, when you got to make a decision that kind of puts you uh, on the other side of the line of people that you look to and people that you love, then that tells you a lot about how you feel about yourself. So it took a lot of emotional work. And that's really, bro, what the second section of the book is about. I call it embracing. Like it's one thing to understand. And I started like sensing, okay, I am called to transform people, help bring about transformations in the life of people so that they can bring about transformations in their world. And church, as the institution, is a vehicle for me to do that. But it is not the only one I've been called to use. So honestly, that's where the tension lies. Let's just get it out there, right? So what I was referring to in the book was that it was my sense of call to, okay, church is a vehicle. Like some people, like God gives a vision for the church, and then God uses that person to carry it out. For me, God gave me a vision for change, and I needed a church to carry it out. So it was one of the instruments, one of the delivery systems that I needed to use. And so anyway, long story short is it just took some internal work, and that was counseling, man. That was emotional intelligence coaching, and that was me putting those tools into practice to really emotionally embrace the fact that, okay, saying yes to this may mean there's some people that I love and look to that we're going to be in disagreement with each other about this.